Hey guys, Brad Pryor here with the Grit Brandy Podcast. Hanging out with Miles Baker today. Having that mare sell for what she sold for.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I mean, that was awesome.
Thank you.
You can't help but, even if you're not in the rope horse industry, you can't help be excited but for the Western industry in general for something like that to happen.
Man, the industry's so good. That's when all that happened, it was in the bright lights, and so everybody knew about it. But Trevor and I were thinking, like, that's about the 10th most expensive horse that's sold in the last few years.
Yeah.
Like, that's how good the industry is. And that one got all the attention because it happened in the public eye. But man, the industry's so good, and there's so much to be excited about it. And I always defend our industry because there's not another industry that, you know, a 60-year-old, 65, 70-year-old man, whatever, 75, can take their horse that they got to watch show for 3 or 4 years, and then they can go ride it themselves and enjoy it, you know.
Yeah.
And we have such a huge built-in infrastructure around our industry because, I mean, next to golf, like, everybody can do it.
Right.
We had Ronda Rousey's husband just bought a horse from us not long ago, and he's been an MMA fighter all this time, and then he just decided it was actually funny because I couldn't relate more to this. It's like, what got you started roping? He said, I went to a Brandon and they had me flanking the whole time. And he was like, this sucks. I want to be the guy on the horse roping.
Yeah.
And I was
That's
like,
the best spot.
amen to that, man. So he got to roping, you know, and so just like that, the guy's been an MMA fighter professionally his whole life, and he just decided he wanted a team rope. And man, he's an athlete and picked up on riding and roping and won his first buckle last week. And like, it just, like, that's how cool the industry is. And then you get like the Old West created this whole new platform to where we get to go compete for that kind of money, you know, like on the mare that sold for a lot. Because it's actually like, it's a game that you can play that there may actually be some ROI in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that have hobbies and they're willing to spend whatever it takes on a race car that you're going to win a $35 trophy that says you won something, and they'll spend their whole dang salary on it just because they love it.
Right.
And then in our deal, I mean, you can make money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you're always going to. Like, even Trevor and I lose on a lot of horses, but man, like, there's some return on investment in our deal, and we've had clients that we maybe have spoiled them.
Yeah.
They may be a little spoiled now because they've done really good, you know, and they're like, golly, this was a hobby. I'm going to quit my day job. I'm like, whoa, don't quit your day job.
Yeah. No.
It don't always happen like this.
This is an animal.
Yeah. But no, there's that much opportunity in the Old West. Like, the guys that started the Old West and stuff, they've been involved in the rope horse industry and the race horse industry, and they know it, and they know how good of an industry it is, and they have the means to get this thing off the ground and get it going. And man, the industry couldn't be headed in a better direction. I almost want to say it couldn't be in a better place, but where we're at, it's not even where we're going. I mean, it's growing so fast that it's unrecognizable from where it was 2 years ago. You know, I actually did a deal. I had a mare that I was showing, and she won $165,000 as a 4-year-old. And so we compared the numbers, and if I won the exact same futurities on her this year, and that's like including the Old West coming up, and and if she was eligible for the side pot money, so say she was eligible for everything, had I won that money this year that I won on that mare 2 years ago, that 165,000 would have been 1.5 million.
Wow.
And just by winning the same futurities, you know, and it's grown that much, which now there's obviously opportunities that there wasn't there. And that's what I'm getting at. If that mare had won that same sequence of futurities, you're like that. I mean, that's insane. And so then you take a mare like that, and like I said, I would have probably spoiled another client because, hey man, this mare you own now is the winningest mare ever, and whatever ranch wants her, you know, and like that's how opportunity happens, because the breeding games become such a big deal. Now all of a sudden you've got some mare that's won $1 million, which it just hasn't happened in the Western industry, but it's going to. And now what's she worth to somebody that has the money to just want the best mare? Like, hey, I want the mare.
Right.
And the crazy thing about it, if you have the mare, it pencils when you show up to the Old West sale and you're selling yearlings for 300,000 or 400,000.
Right.
You know, it just, I can't say it makes sense because I couldn't tell you 2 or 3 years ago how it would ever make sense.
Right.
But I've seen it happen now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's happening. Like that, these mares are making money. These studs are making money. And like, that's just a testament to how good the team roping industry is. And like the Old West coming up, that just they took an industry that was, you know, climbing the mountain steady and strapped a bottle rocket to it and shot it straight up the mountain because it grew that fast because of what they're doing.
Sure.
You know? And
I agree with that.
so it's awesome, man. I'm thankful to be a part of it. And like I said, I'll die on the mountain of everything's happened because of what God's done in my life. And I hope that someday when I'm gone, they say that I had a big part to do with the growth of the team roping industry, because I was that in tune with God that he was like, hey, I'm going to make this industry good so you can be prosperous.
Sure.
You know, like I'm going to grow this industry and give it opportunity because there's people involved in it, guys like Trevor that have been faithful to me, and I owe it to them to show them my goodness on earth as it is in heaven. And I'm going to use the team roping industry to do that. Right. And so that's a little bit of a big, long-term goal for me to be like, man, God used the team roping industry to bless that guy's life, and everybody around it that was involved got to catch some residual off of it because the industry was that good.
Right. You know what was cool about the sale of that mare is we're doing work out there for Ty Solo, and I was looking at buying some stuff out there, and that mare was on the list, obviously, and was out there. So I told Ty, like, hey, can I see her before I go up, before she goes up there and we go up or whatever. And that mare is nice. I mean, it was just really good looking. And he gave me a prospect of what she would bring. Yeah. So I knew where the check marks were. And then when it shot up the way it did, I'm like, holy cow. There's something special fixed. There's some things fixed to majorly happen. And you're getting people behind this in so many ways, and it's just making it grow. I'm like, that is, the expectation for that mare and what it did just really showed me. Even all the other horses went way higher than I thought they would. Yeah. What I was looking for, I didn't have the bank there for that. Because things went so high. Yeah. And that's a good thing. There's money there.
I've got some really good ones going out there next week with us, and like I've got a 3-year-old mare that's probably to date the best 3-year-old head horse I've ever had. And I've had 100 people. Well, what's she gonna bring? I'm like, no, bro, I don't know. Yeah. I'm if I say any number, I'm a liar instantly, because I had people making me offers before the sale on that mare last year, and I'm walking into the sale thinking how stupid I am for not hedging my bet and making a deal like, all right, you know, you buy her, and this a price we agreed on after the sale is what the dollar amount is. Because at that point I'm like, oh, I can hedge my bet, and these people are making me real offers. I mean, $400,000 or $500,000 offers before she ever goes in the ring, and so now I'm sitting there waiting for her to sell, and I'm like, golly, you know, and they just boom, 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 and we're at $1 million, and I'm looking at Trevor,
Yeah.
and we're like, what is happening, you know, and
I think everybody in that whole area was wondering. I mean,
yeah.
because and I put it in perspective for people that don't know, like the rope horse industry was more or less the reject of the cutter and reining cow horses.
Absolutely.
You know, and now we're breeding for rope horses.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a cool thing. It tells you where the industry's going, but nobody thought, like we're talking about, roadmaps to where we've been don't even make sense no more to tell you where it's going, because it's going up. We just don't know how fast or what.
Yeah, I would have never imagined it. It made me think of this story. I said, my buddies back home, we were all just a bunch of cowboys in Oklahoma, and I got to doing some stuff with Trevor, and it was cool for me, but everybody wanted to, bust my balls about it all the time. And so I had on my chest, my dad's brand forever has been a rockin' bee. So all of our cattle, all of our horses and stuff have a rockin' bee on them and stuff. And one of my buddies was like, when are you going to get the flying bee on your chest? Giving me a hard time. And I just popped off. I said, when I make that first 100,000, I'll get it on there then. And so I think about that now, and I was like, I said that thinking that, like, if I ever make 100,000, I'm doing it. I'll get a flying bee on my chest for that. And so I had to have a surgery the end of last year. I was sitting around, couldn't do nothing, and I was like, now's the time. And so I got the flying bee tattooed on my chest. And I sent a picture to my buddy back home, and I said, I'm about 5 million late, but I did it. And he sent me the eye rolling emoji back, and I say that to say that, like, who knows where it's going? I mean, that was 6-7 years ago, and I thought, 100,000, it was just unheard of, and selling a horse for 100,000 was crazy, and now. And that's what I said. I can't say it makes sense. What's crazy is these things are penciling. I mean, I know guys giving $5-6 million for studs and literally getting a return. I mean, it's a 2 or 3 year payout. Mm-hmm. And if you tell any good businessman that you can spend $5 or $6 million, get all your money back in 2 or 3 years, and then you've got a stud that's only 8 or 9 years old, and you're already in the clear on him. There's not a decent businessman in the world that's not like, that's a great investment.
Yeah.
And when these guys when you say give $5 or $6 million for a stud, you're like, well, what do you mean, why? That's ignorant, and I'm like, no. I'm seeing it happen. I'm seeing it every day. I see the books. I see the mares getting bred, and I'm telling you, man, it's a testament to, like, how much people really love horses and roping in the Western world, and that there's people that are rooted enough in what this country was built on that they've worked hard for their money. They love the cowboy culture. And they found an industry that, like I said, sometimes there's a good ROI in it. Yep. And I don't know, man. Like I said, I could sit here and talk all day just about how cool it is, but it's awesome.
So how did y'all come up with the Relentless brand?
Like the Remuda or the B?
The B.
Trev's always had the B, just the flying B. And Trevor and Larry D. God did stuff forever. Trevor and Larry D. are like brother and sister, like Trevor and I are brother and brother. And they did stuff forever, and they would just kind of rotate. Like if they had 10 horses, every other one, that one would brand one with Larry D would brand with her rafter L looking brand, and then Trevor would do his flying B. And he told me one time when we started partnering, he said, hey, we'll just do it like LD did, because my dad's always put a rockin' B on the left shoulder, so all my horses had a rockin' B on the left shoulder. And he said, you brand one, I'll brand one, whatever. And I was like, I'm not no dummy. My brand don't carry near as much value as his. So I was like, no, let's just brand them with yours. And so we brand everything with the flying B. And like I said, I built my house right there next to him, and it's got a big flying B in the fireplace. And like I'm thankful to say that I've just been adopted into the flying bee family.
That's cool though.
That's how that's just kind of become our brand. And we did the Relentless Remuda deal because we just kind of started growing enough that we thought we had put a name behind it, and then it's grew into something that I got notes on my mirror, and they're like declarations that I speak every day, because like God used words to speak the world into existence, and I know the power of the tongue, and there's just certain things that I speak every day. When I'm brushing my teeth every morning, I speak them. And I've been speaking that our business isn't just for me, it's a generational business. That the business that Trevor and I started in the horse industry will affect generations of his family and of my family. That's just a declaration that I speak every day. And so I think we kind of branded it the Relentless Remuda, and we're growing it, and I hope Treston's already a big part of what we do, and I hope my boys are, and I hope their boys are, and hope Treston's boys are, and it's a family deal, and it's meant to, how it will affect generations, I don't know. It may be gone after Trevor and I, but hopefully me and him did good enough at it that it gives the next generation enough money or wealth or whatever that they can bless other people, and that they can fund the church, and that they can help further the kingdom. I don't know how it affects them, but I just know that that's a declaration I have every day. And so when I think about the Relentless Remuda, it's not just a brand to put on a cap. It's something that I plan on having an effect for generations, and that those generations will help further God's kingdom. That's what I want from it.
Right. Heck yeah. So what is something quirky about yourself that nobody would know?
I'm very type A.
I could see that in you though. And I don't know you that well, but I could see.
I've probably got 100 bridles in my tack room. And if you moved one bridle, or better yet, if you took the reins off of a bridle and switched them with a set of reins and put them on another bridle, I would know it when I walked in the tack room. I'm that type A. And it's good because I don't micromanage people, but I'm micromanaged in my mind. And I think that goes back to what I was talking about, being responsible as a kid. Like, not much gets past me.
Right.
And so I'm constantly going through finances. I'm going through bank statements. I'm reconciling accounts. I'm doing something all the time because I don't want nothing to get by me. Right. And so in girl terms, I'm super type A.
Right.
Yeah.
But do you think that's from being like, you probably don't like fire drills either, do you?
No, I think it's
You like controlled chaos if there is going to be chaos?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that because I'm type A, like I want everything to be in a certain place where I don't miss a beat on nothing.
Yeah.
I got to be in format.
I'm real planned out, real strategic. I like to hit my marks. I like to be on time. I pulled in here 5 till, and I don't want to pull in here. I was supposed to be here at 2. I don't want to pull in at 2. And if I'm here at 1:50, I'm too early for y'all. Y'all got other stuff going. I'm like, I'm 5 minutes on time. I'm gonna get here at 1:55, right when I need to be here. And I'm that type A about stuff. But I will say, my dad is, like I said, if somebody stuck their finger in my dad's belt loop, they would get drugged to death. And so as a kid, he wasn't going to wait on me. It was to the point where when I was kind of a turd head and I wanted to run around and party, my dad was like, you're old enough to be stupid, but just know we're rolling out at 4 a.m, and there will be a price to pay if you aren't ready. I'm like, bet. I'll get home at 3:30 and I'll get in the passenger seat of the feed truck and I'll sleep there and I'm not getting left. So I would just get out of my truck from having fun all night and I'd hop in the feed truck and I'd be over there like I beat the system, you know. But anyway, then I grew out of that stage and started going to bed at 10 like I do now and getting up early. That's a lot easier on me.
Who's your hero?
Trev. You know, they say, don't meet your heroes. They'll let you down. Man, not that guy. I've been in the trenches with him. I've seen stuff go bad. I've seen him on bad days. I've seen him on good days. I've seen him when stuff doesn't go right, when people do him wrong. And there hadn't been an instance. And like I said, I literally, for a year or two, my wife lived in Oklahoma and I was coming down here all the time. And when the tornado happened and I got down here full time, I started living in his apartment. But there was probably a 2-year period where he has an extra room by his bedroom. And so his oldest daughter, Style, would always sleep in that bedroom. So Style's real bedroom, no one stayed in it. So I slept in a pink Barbie bed for probably 2 years in Style's bedroom down here. You know, I literally lived with him, and I can't say there's ever been an instant where I wasn't like, I want to handle that situation how he did. Right. You know what I mean? Like, there's times where you can look up to him and stuff, but things can go wrong, and you're like, oh man, guy kind of blew his top right there, but hey, we all do. You know? Sure. I've never seen it happen. And like I said, I've been around him as much as, I would say at this point, as much as anybody other than his mom and his wife, you know. Right. And so I think you got your heroes, that you got your Tom Brady's. Like, I'm like, if somebody's like, man, if you could live somebody's life for a day at any time in their life, who would it be? I'd be like Tom Brady. You know, I think he's the man. But I can't say I could go live with Tom Brady for the last 7, 8 years and think as highly of him as I did before I knew him. And now that I know Trev, I think of him more highly than I did when he was just my hero. You know what I mean? That
speaks truly of a real hero.
Yep.
And champion too.
Yep.
Do you, when you walk in NRS and you look at all the trophy saddles hanging everywhere, what do you think?
I always tell people, I'm like, it looks like a lot until you see what they don't have out there.
That's what I was going to ask you. How many, following up, I was going to ask you, how many total do you think you had? If you had to guess.
I don't know, but I know the NRS doesn't touch it. I literally, this makes him sound irresponsible, but I've got to bust his balls every once in a while. I was in his like when you walk into his house one time, and this was when I first got down there, and I was looking at some spurs where he takes his boots off and stuff, and I open a drawer and there's a gold buckle in the drawer. And I'm like, is this supposed to be in here? And it says like 2009 all around world champion or something, like a gold buckle. Like, is this supposed to be here? And he was like, oh dang, no. He was like, I was wondering where that went, and he took it back. I'm like,
how do you not know that?
Yeah, so like there's a lot of them, but I will say the coolest thing, and this shifted my mind because one of my declarations was I wanted to be the best horse trainer, like futurity guy. That's what's cool about the futurities. You can't be a great horse trainer and not a good roper at the futurities, and you can't be a great roper and not a good horse trainer. You've got to combine the two, be able to train the animal and handy enough to show it. And so I'm like, that's cool to me. I like that. And so I wanted to be, my declaration at one point was to be the best futurity trainer there was. And I shifted that because of something Trevor said, and now my declaration is to be the best businessman in the futurity world. Because if I'm the best businessman, it means I've been the most prosperous, which means I have to rope good, I have to train good, but I have to do all the other things that it takes to run a business. Because to have a successful horse business, that don't mean you spend 24 hours a day on a horse. That means you spend very efficient amount of time in the saddle, and then you spend your other time running the business, running the books, seeing where the money's getting spent, all that stuff. And the reason I shifted my declaration to being the best businessman was because I was talking to Trevor about it, and one day he said, everybody's always asked me, why don't you build a trophy room at your house? And he said, I never did it for the trophies anyway. The only reason I did it was to provide for my family. And I got to thinking about it, I was like, he said all that other stuff was just byproducts of it. But I got to thinking, I was like, his main purpose was that was his business, to put food on the table. And then the saddles and the buckles and all that was just a byproduct of that. And so I got to thinking, I was like, man, why am I doing it? Because, like, to be honest with you, I only got 1 or 2 buckles I wear anyway. And then the other buckle is just a handmade buckle with my brand on it, And I've won a lot of saddles, never kept any of them. And like that stuff just really doesn't matter. But I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, man, I'm doing it. 1, for the Lord, but 1, to bring glory to the Lord. He's given me a platform where when I win, I can tell people why I believe I won. But it's to provide for my family. And so that's why I shifted to that. I want to be the best businessman. Because I like I said, I can't be prosperous in the business if I'm not training the best and roping the best. So that's just a byproduct of it. But him saying that about, all the buckles and stuff not mattering, I thought that was pretty cool. But to answer your question, there's a lot of saddles and buckles and trinkets and stuff. And he's a trinket snob, man. Like, there was a futurity in South Dakota that gave away a handmade rifle, a sweet rifle. And you would have thought we were going to rope for $1 million. He wanted that rifle. And to the point where I'm like, man, I don't care that much about the rifle, so I need to be second at this futurity because my man is really wanting this rifle, And so he still likes to win trinkets. That's why we entered Pendleton a few years ago, just because he's like, man, they give away all kinds of stuff at Pendleton. We need to go to that rodeo. So he's not tired of winning trinkets, but they don't mean that much to him.
Right. That's cool. What's your all-time, if you can talk, some horse guys refuse to answer this question, so I understand. So your all-time favorite stud, past, or foundation bred horse, or current stud?
Man, I don't know on studs of the past really, because I hate to say it, but like I don't really remember like what we rode as a kid. I just rode whatever.
Right.
But So one generation back, I would have to probably say Stevie Ray Vaughan for now, which I know he's super current. But I say him as a generation back because I've never swung a leg over a horse as good as Pride and Joy, the stud that Trevor and I have. I got, that's, like I said, that was one of the buckles I wear is when I won the world on him. And I don't wear the buckle because I like the buckle. I wear the buckle because of the horse.
Sure.
And that, I say a generation back because he's by Stevie. And I've bred Stevie to some running mares that have been really good. The mare that we sold for 1.7 is by Stevie. Kilo's by Stevie. I've got a really good 2-year-old right now that's by Stevie out of a running bred mare that we own. And so I am a Stevie fan, but favorite stud of all time would have to be Kilo. Because I just, there was something about it, like the young kids call it aura, I guess. But that horse, when you walked in there, you knew it. Like,
really?
You knew he was the best. And I always said, like, I rode him at the Rialto Buckle a couple years in a row and did good on him up there. And there would be 400 head of horses in that building. That was the only horse where when you were in the building, it wasn't like, man, that's a good horse right there. Like you knew everybody said, man, that guy's got a good horse. That was the horse where it was like, pick the best horse in the barn. What's the best horse in this building? Oh, there's no doubt. That one. Like you knew he was that good that everybody there knew that horse, and just pure-minded, was never a stud on your team. Just, my wife and I were talking about, I wish I knew the win percentage of when I was on that horse's back. Because I would say that with me competing on him, that I would say around 80% of the time that I entered on that horse, I won money. I just loved that horse. He never messed up for me. Never messed up for Trev. And he was good in the cow horse. And so I think when you ride a horse as much as we rode him and you can't think of any time they ever did you wrong, that's pretty good.
So my next conversation was, what's a horse that you just fell in love with, that you trained, that you just clicked, on all the levels? Man, really, I had a buckskin I called a Blade, and we had bought Show Me the Buckles, and we were trying to buy some of his offspring and do good with them. And I started Blade in September of his 3-year-old year. He had never been saddled. And October the following year, so 13 months later, I showed him at the Futurity and made the heading finals and the heeling finals on him. And I always thought that was pretty cool because I had 13 months to get him ready. And so his training process happened so fast, But Kilo's my all-time favorite, for sure. Yeah, I got you.
For sure.
I got you. Well, if you had to tell an 18-year-old or yourself at 18 for advice, what would that advice be?
I've been on this kick. That's easy for me to answer. Surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'm speaking at the Texas high school finals, and Trey Johnson texted me and said, what do you want to talk about? And I said, map carriers. And I knew Trey would know what I meant because, like, the story in the Gospels of the guy that his friends carried him on a mat, dug a hole in the ceiling and lowered him down. And Jesus said, because of your friend's faith, today I'll heal you. And I was thinking about that. He didn't ask how much faith the guy that needed healed had. It wasn't his faith that mattered. It was his friend's faith. And so I've got very few of them, but I've got 3 or 4 guys that I don't need anybody else, because if I'm in a bind or I'm in a low spot, those guys will pick me up and carry me where I need to go. And so, you know, the old saying, you're the average of the 5 people you hang around. That is true. And I believe that. But to take it to another level, you need to make sure that you're surrounded by people that when you can't get there yourself, they'll pick you up and carry you there. And so just like the friends of that guy that needed healed in the Gospels, that you need to make sure that you've got mat carriers around you. And you don't need a lot of them. You just need a few of them. And like I said, I got 3 or 4, not 10 or 12. Right. I got 3 or 4. I got 10 or 12 good friends. I've got 100 buddies, and I've got thousands of acquaintances, but I only got 3 or 4 mat carriers, you know. And so I think if you can get around the right people at an early age, in like anything, college and stuff, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Or, you know, you got to network and meet the right people and all this. Like, we all hear that, but it's true on so many levels, you know. Yeah. You could be some silly redneck kid that has nothing and knows nothing, but if he's got good character and he's a good welder and he meets you and he's around you, you can take him places.
Sure.
Same way a kid with me can be some dumb cowboy kid with a little bit of talent on a horse, but no money, no connections, no nothing. If he comes and hangs around me and Trevor, he can go places, you know. And so I just, the people you put around you, and successful people strategically put people around them. I know I've got clients that have told me they're in the oil field and or whatever business they're in, and they're just ultra successful. And you get to talking to them like, man, how'd you learn all this stuff, you know, about the oil? Man, I really just always put the right people around me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, they're not telling you how much they know about it. They obviously know about it, but they've put people that know more than them around them to get where they're at. And so I can't overemphasize how important those people are, you know?
Right. And I think in our industry too, it's easy to find the holes in the boat with people, because typically, even if you know dirt on people, we just keep our mouth shut. Yeah. Typically, that's how you stay in that circle of good people. Yep. The ones that are yapping are the ones you stay away from, because they're normally the problem. Yep. So I think that goes a long ways. Yep. If you had to define your grit in one word, what would it be?
Like the one thing that I think helps me the most, or
I know grit's a word in itself, but if you had to have an analogy for grit, what would it be? Defines you.
Determined. I think if determined is the root word, there's a lot of branches that come off determined, that if you're determined to be the best, you'll do whatever it takes. You'll work as hard as it takes. You'll be as disciplined as you need to be. You'll do all these things if you're truly determined enough to get where you want to get. There's nothing that'll stop you. You know, that if you have, because the two go together for me, grit and determination. If you have enough grit, you have enough determination to get whatever you want. You'll do whatever it takes, whether that's hard work, whether it's surrounding yourself with the right people. You'll find your weaknesses. And to this day, every once in a while, I'll make sure to ask Trevor, hey, where's my blind spots? Mm-hmm. Like, because you're living this life and you're going fast, and just like you'll change, but you don't see the change in the mirror. And you'll look back at a picture 2 years ago and you're like, dang, I didn't even know. I looked way different now. You know, like that happens in life. Sure. And so I ask Trevor sometimes, I'm like, hey, where's my blind spots? Horse training, roping, life, whatever it is, what do I need to work on? You know, and generally he has an answer. He's around me all the time. And so I'm determined to be the best me I can be. So I ask him, hey, where's my blind spots? I need to know what I need to be doing different, you know, because I don't want to get stagnant. Sure. I don't want to wake up in 5 years and be like, man, life's good, but kind of in the same spot I was 5 years ago. If I don't want that to happen.
So when you're out there and you're spinning steer, what's going on in your mind when you're in the box? What if you're talking to yourself? You quiet? In a prayer?
Man, I always say discipline always pays off. So it might not pay off on this run, but it will pay off eventually. And so I don't ever get I'm like, score sharp, ride good, rope the horns. Like let the things that are muscle memory take over, but be disciplined. Because I would say my weakness is I'm willing to push it. Like I'm okay with failing. I'm willing to push the barrier.
Right.
I'm willing to reach a little bit. And if it don't work, that's fine. They're going to have another one next weekend. I'll come back swinging. But so for where I'm at in this season is being disciplined. Like if I got to be 6 flat to win first and I don't draw 6 flat steer, I'll be 7 flat and I'll win second or third. That's fine,
Right.
And so that's my mentality right now. Just take care of business, get paid. I don't got to win first. I just want to keep winning money. Yeah. Trev said, sometimes you bring gas and sometimes you get gas money. And so I like gas money. I like to win first, but I want to get paid. I'm in it for the long haul. And so that's what's going through my mind. And I don't overthink much stuff. I don't want to fail. I'm too type A about winning and stuff. Like I want to win, but a loss hasn't killed me yet.
Yeah.
I'm still here to tell you all the times I failed, which this is probably one of my favorite Trevor quotes because we were at the Beehive in Abilene eating. And I don't know how we got on this topic, but somebody said something about Trevor missing one at high call that day or something. And then somebody else said something about, well, missed high call here. And there was 3 or 4 instances where, missed high call or missed to win a gold buckle or whatever. And this girl that was with us said, how many times have you missed not at high call? Like it sounds like the number's astonishing that you've missed a lot at high call. And we're sitting there eating, and he looks up and he goes, I'm still eating steak, ain't I? And I was like, you dang right. And so I've messed up a lot, and I'm still eating steak. So there hasn't been a loss that killed me yet. So
that's a good way to put it.
Yep.
I have to ask you 2 different things before I let you go. What's it like living on the compound? Man, I know you don't live directly on the compound, but that's what I've always heard it called. Because
no, I do now. I'm in the middle of it. We all say we're not going to do nothing one day, and by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we're all out there roping. It's just that's the life. Yeah, I mean, like you would think at this point in Trevor's life that he would maybe be over just out there roping to rope or roping to ride a horse, and we're roping. And I think that just work ethic and mentality and discipline, and it's a good place. It's been really good for me. But there's no doubt. I actually had a buddy yesterday. I was at a pre-work, and somebody was complaining, saying that we win too much or whatever. And this buddy of mine, he's been coming over a lot and roping with us, and he said so and so was saying this, that y'all win too much or whatever. And he said, I just told him, if you could be a fly on the wall at that place, you would see why they win. Mm-hmm. And so that really is how it is. Like I said earlier, it doesn't even feel like work because we're just out there. Most people would be like, man, we put in 8-10 hours of roping today. We put in work, and I mean, that's just a Tuesday or just a Saturday around there. It's just normal.
So do you have What do you think the ceiling's going to be at the sale?
I don't know.
Guess.
I don't know.
Think you'll top it? Or anybody will top it?
I will never say never in the horse industry. The sale as a whole will be better this year. Like the overall numbers will be better than last year. Will something break 1.7? I don't know. That's hard to say. Like I said, one of the 3-year-old mares I'm taking is probably the best one I've ever had or rode. So I think there's better horses in it this year, but it just depends who wants something the most, you know.
Sure.
So that's what was crazy last year. No one talked about it, but there wasn't just one guy that went to 1.7. There was a 1.6 and there was a 1.65, and I'm like, those people weren't on an island by themselves. There's other people that were wanting to go the distance. And so I would hate to say that those people aren't still out there, you know, because there's a lot to be won, and I think it could happen.
Yeah.
Hope it does.
Me too.
It don't even have to be mine.
Sure.
I love it for somebody, you know.
That's why I am. I don't care. I mean, obviously everybody wants it to be theirs, but I mean, to me, it's like if it happens, it's great. It means everybody's still growing.
Whether it's mine or somebody else's, it'll be fun being in there when it happens.
Yeah, the energy in that place last year was phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to go out there.
Good deal. Well, good luck. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yes, sir. Stay tuned for your next Grit Branded podcast.